The Monster of Florence, Italy's unsolved nightmare. In the quiet hills of Tuscany, couples went to find love and privacy, but some never came back. For decades, a killer known only as the Monster of Florence stalked the countryside, leaving terror in his wake. No one knows who he is, and no one knows if he's still out there. This is the chilling story of Italy's most infamous unsolved murders. Chapter 1. The Serenity Before the Storm. Tuscany, Italy. A land of culture, art, romance, and scenic beauty. In the late 1960s, this idyllic region was an unlikely setting for a real-life horror story. On August 21, 1968, police discovered a young couple brutally murdered beside a rural road near Florence. They had been shot while parked in a car, a common enough sight for lovers seeking privacy. But this would be the first of a series of murders that would terrorize Italy for decades. The victims were never random strangers. Most were young couples in secluded locations, places where two people could find privacy away from prying eyes. But in the darkness, another presence waited. Chapter 2. A disturbing pattern emerges. Between 1968 and 1985, a clear and chilling pattern emerged. The killer repeatedly targeted couples parked near quiet roads or fields in the Tuscan countryside. More horrifying was his signature. After shooting the victims, he would return and mutilate the bodies, especially the female victims, in the most grotesque ways. The mutilations weren't random. They appeared ritualistic, calculated, personal. This was no ordinary killer. This was someone who understood his crimes and wanted them to be remembered, dissected, feared. Journalists soon gave him a nickname that would haunt Italy for generations: Il Mostro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. Chapter 3. Crime Scene Signature and Theories. The monster's signature was disturbingly consistent: couples in secluded areas, victims shot at close range, post-mortem mutilation, a fixation on precise areas of the female body. No weapon ever found. No reliable eyewitness. Criminologists studying the case have proposed theories. Some psychological, others cultural. Was it a sexually driven psychopath? A vigilante punishing promiscuity? A group of killers acting together? Or a ritualistic cult? One thing is certain: the brutality and precision of the murders pointed to a deeply disturbed individual. Perhaps someone who cherished control, secrecy, and power. Chapter 4. The investigation begins. Italian law enforcement quickly realized they were facing a serial killer unlike any other the country had seen. But the investigation was hampered by limitations. Forensic science in the 1970s and 1980s was primitive compared to today. DNA analysis was not yet mainstream. Witness testimony was unreliable. The crimes crossed multiple jurisdictions. Investigators struggled to piece together a cohesive profile. They interviewed locals, tracked suspicious behavior, and even investigated groups of suspects. But every lead seemed to vanish into thin air. At one point, the investigation grew so large it consumed entire police divisions, costing Italian authorities millions of dollars. Yet no definitive breakthrough was made. Chapter 5. The first break: Pain, Innocence. In the early 1990s, authorities made their biggest arrest: a man named Pietro Pacciani. Pacciani was a local farmer, someone who knew the countryside intimately. Police claimed he fit certain psychological profiles. Some witnesses even said they saw him near crime scenes. In 1994, Pacciani was convicted for several of the murders. It seemed like justice had finally come, but then the case took an unexpected turn. During appeal hearings, important evidence was discredited. Witness statements were proven unreliable, and the conviction was overturned. Pacciani was eventually acquitted and released. Many people believed Pacciani was innocent, a scapegoat for a case the authorities could never solve. Chapter 6. More suspects, more questions. As the trial collapsed, new names emerged. Some suspected accomplices, others copycats. Investigators even explored the possibility of a group of killers acting together, someone inspired by occult rituals, a mastermind who coached others, a person with ties to intelligence or military training. But nothing concrete ever materialized. For every suspect, there were contradictions. For every theory, there were holes. And all the while, the monster remained free. Chapter 7. Media, Myths, and Public Fear. As the murders continued, Italian media exploded with sensational headlines. Newspapers published lurid details, crime photos, and speculative theories that captivated and terrified the public. Townspeople lived in fear. Couples avoided countryside dates. Parents warned children about driving at night. The monster was no longer just a murderer. He was a symbol of fear. Writers, filmmakers, journalists, and podcasters turned the case into a cultural phenomenon. Some claimed to have insider knowledge. Others wrote bestseller books filled with speculation. One journalist, Mario Spezzi, became especially obsessed with the monster. Spezzi spent years investigating, but even he couldn't capture the full truth. Chapter 8. Modern Search for Answers. In the last decade, the Monster of Florence case has experienced a resurgence of interest. With the advancement of forensic DNA technology, cold case investigators revisited old evidence. Some believed modern science could finally unmask the killer. Various documentaries, including international productions, reignited the public's curiosity. Thousands of hours of interviews, reenactments, and archival footage were released online, capturing new audiences all over the world. But even today, Na has not conclusively identified a single killer. Some experts believe the case may never be solved. Chapter 9. Why this case remains haunting. What makes the Monster of Florence one of the most chilling cases of all time? Unsolved mystery. Unlike many serial killers who were eventually caught, the identity of this killer remains unknown. Signature rituals. The killer's repeated mutilations suggest psychological motives beyond simple violence. Lack of closure. Families of victims never received justice. Bizarre evidence. No weapon. No credible eyewitness. No definitive suspect. Criminologists consider this case not only a nightmare but a lesson, a warning about how limited human understanding can be when facing true evil. Chapter 10. The Legacy. The Monster of Florence case changed Italian law enforcement, forensic science approaches, and public perception of serial crime. It influenced new forensic practices, cold case units, crime documentaries globally, modern true crime storytelling. But perhaps the most lasting legacy is this: the killer's identity may still be out there, somewhere, and the world is still searching. He hunted in the darkness. He vanished before justice could close in. And today, more than 50 years later, the Monster of Florence remains one of history's most haunting unsolved mysteries. Will he ever be identified? Or will this be a secret buried forever in the rolling hills of Tuscany?